Recording? We're recording. Hello, everybody. I know it's been a while. Just haven't had much to say. YouTube's become a real hassle and not much fun anymore, so I don't know where this is all going to end up, but maybe at the end of the year after the election, I guess that's what's causing all the problems. Maybe things will get back to normal again. Who knows? Anyway, so I thought this might be fun. I finally got all the capacitors in for my preamp project, and of course, this is a shot in the dark. I really don't know what I'm doing here. I don't have the proper test equipment or anything like that, but talking to quite a few people, and replacing the caps and everything else was, I guess, the first thing that you would do. And that's what I did. So I ordered a bunch of them from China. And the crazy thing is, when you order these things on eBay, they write down quantity of one. I'm dropping shit here. They write down a quantity of one, but what you get is you get a quantity of one, which means 20 pieces, 50 pieces, 80 pieces. I mean, good God, that's that's a quantity of one. So now I got enough caps here to repair everybody's electronics in the county. So, all right. Anyway, what I did, let me flip the screen around so I can see where I'm going. All right, I replaced all the caps here where the hot spots were. I think I did some over here too. Now these Chinese caps do come somewhat smaller in size, diameter and everything, than the originals, but maybe it's updated and they're better, more modern. I don't know. Maybe they're better off. So in either case, I got them all replaced, and I thought it'd be fun to plug this thing in on camera so that in case we we have an explosion here or a meltdown or some kind of nuclear holocaust, that I did something wrong, maybe. I doubt it, but I mean, who knows? So we could have one of those videos, where the kid on a skateboard drops on the handrail and gets his balls crushed, and everybody thinks it's funny. So I thought I'd set up the camera, and we'll go ahead and do a plug-in and a power-up, and see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to hook it up to the stereo system today because it is quite a bit of wiring, and I got to move the other unit out of the way to plug this one in, and I don't know if I feel like it. It's kind of crap weather. So we'll see. We'll go on from there. So let me shut this off and put it on a tripod, and we'll go from there. Right? Right. Alrighty. Here we go. So, where's my power cord? Okay, there's a power cord. Oh, goddamn, bending over for an old man is rough shit. And we're plugging in. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. Well, we have power, and nothing appears to be smoking. Except me. Okay, so let's power it up. Yeah, we got tuner, CD, tuner. Everything's still going. Good, now I got the phone ringing. Alright, well, it looks good so far. Always figures a phone call's got to come right in the middle of doing something. In either case, yeah, I mean, everything's lighting up fine. Of course, we don't have any type of power going to it. All the buttons are working, it seems like. And we don't have any smoke. I'm not getting electrocuted by the chassis. which is all good too. So we can turn that off. And now the big question remains, did I fix the original problem, which is that we dropped out a channel. Now the odd thing is here, let me get something to point with. We'll use this. And no, it's not a roach clip. I use this to hold things, and in the mechanics world you use a lot of different hemostats. And because I worked for Mercedes, I dealt with a lot of doctors and nurses and such, and well, not nurses so much as doctors, but I guess these things lose their tension after a while, and these are medical grade. So you know, I used to ask the guys if they have any left over. Man, they brought me a handful, I mean a ton of them. Gave a lot of them away back when, but anyway, so I'm going to try to point here. But this long piece here, right there, is an amplifier, or what they call an amplifier, and that goes to the output for your left and right, which I'm wondering if that might also have been a problem, because I did get a wiring diagram, the legend, on how this is set up and everything. Now, of course, this has about 20 little solder joints, you know, going through it, and I don't know, replacing that and resoldering it, even if I could get this unit, would be incredibly hard. And you know, since solder joints are so close together on that little thing, that I don't know if I can do it, even though I've got this needle tip. But God, the solder joints are about the size of the end of that. So anyway, okay, good. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put it together, and I'll mount it up and put it in there and hook it up to the system, and let's see if we've done any good. So yeah, I guess we can continue on later. Better turn that down before I get a copyright strike. Jimmy Page, don't fuck with me, man. I know you own the rights to this shit, don't you? I hope so. Anyway, Swan Song. Yeah, you do. Anyway, it's working, people. So far, I've got both channels back now. It is working perfectly at the moment, and I'm going to continue to play this, do a little bit of cranking, and that's it for the video anyway, music-wise. But, shit, I'll be damned. You know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on. Now, I've been thinking about putting I've got a couple of extra, what do you call it, computer fans laying around. And I've got a really old computer that's what do you call it, cable. God, my brain's going to mush. The SATA cable. It's one of the older ones that really it's no good other than the case, but the power supply is still good in it. And I was thinking maybe that, you know, I could rig up a little side unit power supply and put a fan somewhere in the side of this case to blow across this area where it got really hot that I showed in the original video on the top, which you can see where the thing got, you know, extremely hot, and that's where I replaced the caps. Now, the caps didn't show any damage, but again, they had that powder burn fluff stuff going all over the place. So you know, obviously it did something by replacing all those caps in that area, and it's working, so I'm a happy camper here. But I would like to cool that down somewhat internally. If anybody has a better idea than that, I'd be willing to hear it. I don't have a 5-volt power supply internally in this thing, and yeah, I really don't know where to hook it to and then reduce it down with a resistor. You know, and it might mess up the unit itself by diverting power. So I might do that and make a project of it. We'll see how that works out. But right now I'm happy, people, and yeah, putting a few caps in there. Total cost of the caps was right around 20 bucks, I guess. You know, for all those caps that I got. You know, thinking I was going to get just the quantity I needed, not this many of them. If anybody needs any caps, give me a holler. I'll never use these all. But yeah, I think that would be a good conclusion. I think I'll wait to upload the video until I've run this thing into the ground. In other words, just beat the hell out of it a little bit, and you know, make sure I'm going to keep the cover off of it for now to give it plenty of cooling until I come up with an idea for that fan. So like I said, you know, I'll do an update on that. I'll go ahead and crank the living heck out of it, and Zeppelin and things like Robin Trower, Two Rolling Stone, you know, they put these pieces of equipment to a very good workout, to put it mildly. So I think that's probably why it failed, because you know, for years and years, this thing, I think I bought it around 94, so it's had a rough life. Anyway, all right, I'll pick it up later and we'll do an update, and we'll see if it holds up, you know, with the power constantly going to it and the music and everything else. And I guess I'll have another beer and kind of party out with LZ. All right, we'll pick it up later. Okay, after 3 hours of torturing the shit out of this thing, both channels are still working. Actually, the sound is better than the used unit that I got. The sound is excellent, and I did ramp it up to the max of what I can stand, which is pretty damn good. That's why I have tinnitus. And I've been keeping an eye on it and everything else, and I just wanted to get real close here to showing what's going on. So let's do this. I'll try to do this with 2 hands. And okay, so we're gonna go for the big one, the big cap, which is running at 93.3 Fahrenheit. The next one, you know, the bigger, small one is running at 81.8, 82. All these other little ones are running around 115.8, so 116. They're all basically the same. The power supply is running steadily at around 129, 135, depending on where I'm shooting it. These are all within specs, and let me do this in Celsius for our European friends. So the big one's running at 36.0 Celsius. Next biggest one is running at 29, and the smaller ones are running around 47. whoops, let me get back on it. 47.2. They're all about the same. The power supply is running at 57. The high reading I'm getting here is 57 roughly. Now the sun's kind of coming through the window, so that's going to bring it up just a little bit. But everything is well within specs. And I think, I just stupidly got lucky here. Because I'm really not, an electronics expert or anything else, but recapping this unit worked. And also the other thing I was thinking is the fact that this has power supply on the back of the unit where, it's switched and not switched, which turns on everything else when you turn this on. As you can see here, I've got 3 of them put in there, which really isn't necessary because, the other units, I turn them on and off manually anyway when I fire the thing up. And it might be that the power supply was getting kind of beat up by the draw from that. It could be. I'm just guessing here. So anyway, there's our temperatures. Like I said, I've run this unit now. And by the way, the smoke is my incense. I can't listen to 3 hours of Led Zeppelin without having some kind of input. And, well, actually I can, but look, I'm a boomer from that time when we used to do that. The only thing missing is all the drugs, and I'm not into that anymore by far. So, anyway, this worked out. It did the job. It wasn't hard to do it, just getting the parts and, the caps and doing it little at a time, taking my time with it, getting it right. And, yeah, I am mechanically inclined, so, and I've done, many electronic things before, so basically, this is something, I don't know, just, kind of a new thing for me. It kept me busy, it kept me interested, and I was hopeful. And like I said, this wasn't a calculated knowledge of repair. This was more of a stupid, lucky, beginner's luck, if you want to call it that. But anyway, there's always something that you can learn or, play with and do. A lot of guys say they're bored, they don't know what to do. Try something new, Try something that you've never done before. It may work out, it may not, and I was wholly ready to do that. Anyway, I wanted to mention that also the thing about the computer fans, I mentioned 5 volts before. And I don't know why. I think that goes back to my RC helicopter days. For some reason there was something 5 volt, but they are 12 volt. Or at least the fans that I have. So basically the 12 volt, you need a converter for that, or a reducer. And I keep these adapters, which this 110 to 12 volt DC, and it's 1 amp. So oops, sorry. This one's a 9 volts. Okay, I got a 12 volt out there. Anyway, I grabbed the wrong one. Always keep those things. So I'm not going to use a computer power supply, which is, bigger or whatever. I'll just get one of those. I always keep those things around every time, I have a piece of equipment or you know, anything, a beard trimmer. Yeah, I know I don't use it. Anything like that, when it goes bad, I always keep them, throw them in a bag, and that way, if I ever need one, I've got one. So we've got success here. And by the way, if anybody's worried about Ripley getting his eardrums blown out, he just he doesn't care for one thing for a little while, and then he just goes outside through the doggy door and lays in the sun. You know, he doesn't care at all. So he's not being tortured. If anything, I'm torturing myself, but I enjoy it. So there it is, people. You know, project done. Came out good. And, you know, maybe it'll help somebody down the road with one of these units. You know, it has a little bit of skill that, you know, soldering and paying attention to what you're doing. That's all it takes. So there it is. All right, my video. God knows when I'll make another one. And again, like I said, I'll probably get a copyright strike because the music was playing for a few minutes or seconds, you know, which should be fair use because I'm trying to educate or, you know, bring something forth to help people. But who knows? And this is the reason I'm getting tired of YouTube and posting videos because, you know, the fun's been taken out of it. But anyway, I'm happy and everything's going well, so I'll talk to you later.